Financial freedom is in your hands. With CMC Markets' revolutionary new iPad app, you can trade CFDs wherever you are with the leverage you choose. Download now and trade your way. At CMC Markets, your thought counts.
Naomi, you started with all the right companies, Apple, KPMG, IBM. Why didn't you stay in the corporate life?
Oh, look, it's actually for a personal reason. When I had children, which is now 15 years ago, but I just didn't have the flexibility. And my employer at the time wouldn't give me that flexibility, and I wanted to be a great mum, but I also didn't want to give up my career. So it's like, how can I be a great marketer, still do something that's worthwhile and valuable, not give up all these skills from all these fabulous places, but also to be with my children. And at the time, the workplace didn't offer me that level of flexibility. So I started my own show.
Do you think the companies have changed since then?
Look, I know they have, and they have to change. If you think about it, so many women, we've got more female graduates than we have male graduates in Australia. And in some ways, we're training these fabulous people, and then they do want to choose. And I think it's great for people to choose. But I think Australia misses out if we don't attract people back. And this isn't just about women, it's about parenting as a whole. Society raises children, not just a mother. And I think it's important that, and I've seen it, but people are trying to do it. Many of the large organisations have parental leave policies, but there's still some, slight if the husband or the father then says, well, actually, I'm going to take a year off of paternity leave. It's like, oh, is he not serious about his career? There's still some cultural things we really need to address before it's going to be very much, it's possible for us to have it all. But I think society's raised children, and I don't think we're doing enough to support our communities.
You started RedBalloon in 2001.
Yes.
On the internet. How has the business changed from what you originally conceived back there in 2001?
In my wildest dreams, I never thought it would be like this. When you start a business, you will always kind of imagine and hope and wish and plan. But in my wildest dreams, I never knew it would be this amazing. And it is such a ride. Every year is different. Every month's different. Sometimes it's daily. But we started as a little online business. I outsourced our development in the first phase, and then it came back. I'd spent my $25,000 on the website, and it came back and it was red with black writing, so you couldn't actually read anything. And I didn't know this, but Google doesn't read images. And therefore we were listed in Google for something like skip intro, because that was the only text on the page. And the whole thing was framed. I didn't know anything about online, but really nobody did. It was really just a little project. And when you build it, you don't kind of realise, oh, actually, I'm going to have 2 million visitors to my website in a month. You don't plan for that level of growth. So, the growth has been painful, there's no doubt about it. We're on a 7th version of our website. The infrastructure and the technical resources required to run a website that's significantly substantial, it takes a completely different set of skills than when you're dabbling or prototyping, really, or just getting the idea and the concept going.
So, in terms of the websites, you've got to actually look at it quite differently, haven't you? You actually must be very flexible.
Absolutely. The other thing is just to remember the basics of marketing. And that's one skill I did learn very well in all of those previous employers. Just listen to your customer. Your customer will give you the insight you need to grow your business if you're prepared to take on what they say. So listening and responding. So the very first customer that we had at RedBalloon, it was actually order number 14, because I'd done 13 before to see if the website worked, and order number 14 comes through, and I call myself Chief Experience Officer because I'm accountable for how people experience the business. And so I pick up the phone and I said, hello, my name's Naomi Simson. We like to call all of our customers at RedBalloon to find out how you experienced our website. And of course he's like, oh, who are you? I said, I'm Naomi Simson from RedBalloon. He said, oh, what have I done? I said, you've just bought a stress-busting massage for your friend Scott Hedge. And he said, have I? I said, what did you think of our website? And he goes, oh, it's terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. So you can just imagine, I've spent my $25,000 on this website. I'm in partnership with my husband.
Yes.
He's going, how's the website going, sweetheart? Oh, no customers today, maybe tomorrow. It took 2 months and 4 days to get that customer, 2 months and 4 days, a very long time. Every day my husband would come home and say, how's it going? And I go,
No customers.
no customers. And, we made that first sale. And it was funny because Peter came home and he said, oh, darling, I've made a sale. It's fabulous. And I said, oh, really, what did you sell? And I said, $99 stress busting mesh. And I go, oh, total margin, $9. Getting rich now, sweetheart. Off you go. So it was a project to start with. And it is about listening and responding. Like, we invented an industry.
When did you suddenly realise that you'd hit on something?
The first 15 months, I remember I launched in December and it was a part-time business. Like, the first sale was in December. It was a part-time thing. I was still running my marketing consultancy and still doing that. In the May, I went away on a family holiday and I said to Peter, look, sweetheart, unless I actually really invest in this with all of my energy, it's not going to fly. It's going to become the lead balloon, not red balloon, And he said, well, sweetie, you do whatever you think is appropriate, because all he's saying is absolutely almost, like in that first year, we only sold 300 experiences. And, I know each of those customers almost personally. And the next year, though, we were selling 300 a month, the year after 300 a week. And, this year is 300,000. So, the growth is phenomenal. And it's also not linear. It's actually exponential. So only May afterwards, I knew it needed all of my energy. By the December after that, I could see that it was going to take off. And it's kind of interesting that, now what I sold in the whole year, we sell in, half a day. So it's fascinating. The thing is, lots of people said to me, what a fabulous idea, that's really great, including my family and friends. Oh, that's a lovely idea, Naomi. But nobody bought. It actually took about 4 years before we got to a significant enough volume. And it was almost like people wait and see. That's a nice idea, but is it true? Can we trust them? Is it real? And trust is critical in the growth of any business.
What happens in this experience business? Why are people suddenly buying a whole lot of experiences?
It's interesting because I think there's a cultural shift. A lot of conversation about the planet, a lot of conversation about we've got enough stuff. There's been television programs about where does stuff go to or come from. And there's also the fundamental of why are people happy? Now, we're happiest when we're experiencing something with those people who are important to us. And we just believe that people need time together and fun times. So I know that our business is growing because I think there is a cultural shift towards, what are we going to do? Grandma used to give us tickets to the ballet, because she kind of got it. All we wanted was time with our family and friends. And experience, they create that. And a RedBalloon, something like that, just gives it their authority. It's going to be a great experience. So I think there's really 3 main reasons. One is the internet's growing itself. Like, it's growing massively. Online retail is so convenient. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can get a fabulous gift for anyone, anywhere on the planet. I have customers all over the planet, which is kind of interesting. Secondly, so internet's growing. Secondly, it is about brand. Have I seen them before? Who are they? Oh yeah, I can trust them. I believe in them. I know what they stand for. Thirdly is the whole area of trust. And actually, if there's a fourth one, it is to do with corporations, because corporations are looking at how they differentiate themselves, how they engage their people, and there is definitely, we can only pay people so much, and that becomes almost table stakes. People need to be well paid. But how do I differentiate myself and acknowledge and thank people for their contribution? Especially in tough times when salaries and bonuses may not be paid, I want to make you still, you still worked hard. I'm going to give you a RedBalloon gift.
How big is this corporate reward for employees' business?
It's very significant for us. It's not. We have a big online business for consumers. We have a retail business, but it's sort of it. I would say our online consumer business is the biggest piece, but then this is a good third of the business. And also, many corporations just buy online, and I don't realise that they're corporates buying, by the way, because they just come anytime. But in terms of those organisations we have about 2,000 corporate customers who are buying from us regularly to either reward, recognise or incentivise people within their organisations. And they find ways of using us that we never ever could have imagined.
What have you learned about the experiences? What sort of experiences are the most popular?
You know, it's funny, we have a team of 5 just dedicated to experiences, and that's because they change seasonally, they change geographically, and also, you know, for instance, cooking experiences are fabulous at the moment. Everyone wants to learn to cook. And then we go through other phases. When we first started, we had kite surfing. I don't think we even list kite surfing now. So things go through fads and fashions, and in any given month we publish 50 new experiences. But also in our overall range, we sell 80% of our range in every given month. In other words, it's not going to be there if people aren't buying it.
We're seeing a tremendous move by SMEs to use the internet in all parts of their business. What advice would you give them?
Look, it actually just makes logical sense. And it's not just e-commerce. Like, I work in the area of e-commerce, but also in the area of processes. So at RedBalloon, when you look at, well, we started as a team of generalists. You know, the people who came around me were people who were passionate about gifting and had general skills, but then at some point you need specialists. But how do we choose which specialist do we recruit first? Do we recruit a search person, or what about a database analyst? Or when do we get, you know, a customer experience executive who's worked with customers a lot? And the thing that we do is look at what people love in their job and what people loathe in their job. And when we look at what people loathe, can we invent something with technology rather than just throwing another person at it? So when you don't have money, when you don't have resources, it can really drive innovation. I'll give you an example. My husband is an accountant, and when I started, and then all of a sudden I was having to pay suppliers, and you know, lots was going on, and I didn't think about all the processes that I would need. So I have 900 suppliers, and Pete said, "Look, I don't mind helping you out, but sweetheart, I don't do checks." And I was like, "Oh, okay, darling." And he said, "Really, the bank has a system. We have a system. Surely we can just get them to talk." So off he goes, talks to the bank. They have an API. We did a little bit of development. It takes us less than 5 minutes to pay 900 suppliers every week. We just dump money into their bank accounts. They love it and we love it. And nobody has to write or sign any checks. So it really is about, well, what do we love, what do we loathe, and then inventing processes. And that is an internet application. So there's back office functionality that you can get through all sorts of things.
You're actually replacing retail, aren't you?
I think retail is very much going to reinvent itself. It's going to look different. I don't quite know what it's going to look like, but I think we want to go to retailers when we want to be entertained. We want a bit of an outing for the day, rather than getting essential items. So if someone's in a hurry and they go, "Oh, I've got a wedding tomorrow, haven't done anything about it," they're going to quickly get online. It's just so much easier. And not only that, they don't have Australia to choose from, they have the whole globe to choose from. So, you know, it might not be from us, it might be from somewhere else. I think that Australian retailers haven't really understood or quite worked out how they're going to manage it. And a big piece to do with that is logistics. It actually costs a retailer to go and pick and pack somebody, you know, how they do that. Whereas we used to self-help, we'd walk into the store ourselves. The other thing that is, you know, particularly in New South Wales, compared to Melbourne, in Sydney it takes 2.5 times the time to get somewhere in Sydney than it does in Melbourne, according to Bernard Salt. So he says it takes 2.5 times to get the same physical distance in Sydney than it does in Melbourne. It's really hard. It's really hard to get anywhere. There's no public transport of anything. And, you know, if it's pouring with rain, you don't want to go outside. So the only reason why you're going to want to go to retail is when it's a destination and it's an experience to go to a store. So I think retailers are really looking very hard of what is it that they contribute that's unique, that is special, that you can't get online. And one of that could be customer intimacy. That could be, I get to talk to somebody who gets to know me.
Thanks, Naomi.
My pleasure.